everyone and welcome to the sewing tutorial. My name is Petra, I'm the founder of a Kossi Sewing Patterns, and today we will make together the Copenhagen set, which consists of a simple white pants and a crop top that is made by using the so-called burrito technique. And here is everything we will need to complete this project. A fabric. My number one recommendation would be a stone-washed linen. However, for today's tutorial I will be using a blend of linen and viscose. You can optionally also use other types of fabric such as linen itself or a cotton. Next, we'll need a thread in a similar color, a measuring tape, pins including a safety pin, a pencil for the fabric or anything you can make a small mark with, scissors, 4 or 5 cm wide elastic band, a sewing machine, iron, a tape, and a pattern itself. I will link below the website where you can download it from, and we can now move on to the printing of the pattern. Once you get your pattern, you receive 4 documents. One is the instruction material. You don't need to print this one, but I would recommend to read it anyway, as it should include all the essential information, including the size table. There are 3 different available formats: A0, A4 and the US letter. Select the one that is the most suitable for you. A0, unless you have a special printer, can be only printed in a copy shop. US letter format is mostly used in the US, and A4 is the most common format used, for instance, in Europe. I'm printing my pattern in an A4. When printing the pattern, I would recommend to print the first page first and make sure that the scale is set to 100%. Once printed, measure the square and make sure that it has 5 cm or 2 inches, and then print the rest of the pages. Working with the pattern should be quite easy, as this pattern is trimless. We will be using the dotted lines as a guideline, as well as the indicators in each corner. The indicators should navigate us towards the next page. Look for the matching numbers and letters, and simply lay the paper on top of them directly on the dotted line. Continue the process until you run out of the paper, and then just tape it together. Before you cut the pattern based on your size, there is one more thing that needs to be done. Make a measurement from your waist down and identify your desired length of the pants. My desired length of the pants is 98 cm. On the pattern itself, I already tried to predefine the final length of the pants, which is different for every size. This is calculated based on the full length of the pattern minus the adjustments that we will do on the fabric during the sewing process. And just to make sure, add 1 or 2 centimeters to your desired final length. We are adding the additional centimeter or 2 just in case you do the hemming on a fabric a little differently than I do, and it's always better to start with more, as we can make the pants shorter, but it would be quite difficult to make them longer. Add the line with your measurement to the pattern. My size is size S, therefore I'm calculating my line as followed: 118.5 minus 99.5. Even though my desired final length was 98 centimeters, I added 1.5 centimeter, and that's how I ended up with 99.5. And then 118.5 minus 99.5 equals 19 centimeters, which means that I will make my pattern 19 centimeters shorter. And once this is done, we can cut the pattern, and since my size is size S, I will be cutting the green dotted line. On the pattern pieces, you will notice an arrow. This arrow should run in parallel with the direction of the wave of the fabric. also known as the grain of the fabric. If you don't cut the pattern pieces along the grain, the fabric may later on stretch or warp. So cut your pieces out along the grain and make sure that in case there is a fold sign on the pattern, the fabric is on fold and the fold part of the pattern matches the fold on the fabric. Pin the pattern and the fabric together before cutting. 1 cm of a sewing allowance is already included, so you can just cut it directly alongside the pattern. While cutting the pieces, you will also notice a small notch. Use a pencil to draw a small mark on your fabric just to know where exactly the notch is. Once done, you should have 2 front pieces and 2 back pieces of the shirt, both of them cut on fold, 4 strings, and 2 front and 2 back pieces for the pants. Let's start with the pants. Now, with the good side facing, place the 2 front pants pieces together and match the edges. And by a good side of the fabric, I mean the side that will be visible once you wear the clothes. The fabric which I'm using is equal on both of the sides, so I can now decide which one will be the bad one and which one will be the good one. But basically, for the bottom piece, the bad side is facing the table, and for the piece that we put on top, the bad side is facing us. These pieces should align and match nicely together. Pin the entire crotch area like this, and then do the exact same thing with the back pants pieces. Match them with the good side facing and pin the same section. We will now sew the pinned areas with a straight line stitching. Set up your sewing machine and make sure that you select a straight line stitching from the stitching options. Put the pinned part under the needle and make sure there is a 1 cm of a sewing allowance in between the needle and the end of a fabric. Don't forget to do some back and front stitching on the beginning and on the end to secure the seams and sew with a straight line. Repeat the same also for the other pinned part. Now, before we overlock the seams, iron the seams open. I would recommend to always iron the seams open, as the final product then looks much more nicer and professional. Next, to ensure a clean finish, we overlock the seams. Use an overlock machine or change the setting on your sewing machine to any of the zigzag options. Put the part that we have just ironed under the needle and try to sew in a way that one zig goes inside of the fabric and the other one slightly out. And here is how it looks like. We can continue with the other part. Now put the back piece of the pants down with the good side facing us. And with the good side down and the bad side facing us, lay down the front piece directly on top of the back piece. Pin the seams on the crotch area and the seams on the top, just to ensure that the pants are secured in the middle. And then pin the side of the pants all the way down. From the crotch area down, the front and back pieces will not match exactly, as the back part of the pants is a bit wider than the front. Therefore, when pinning, make sure you are focusing on pinning and matching the edges together like this. And once done, you should have this entire area pinned together. As the next step, we will sew with a straight line all the pinned parts. Do not forget to change the setting on your sewing machine back to the straight line and start with the sewing. We will again iron the seams open first and then overlock them. Change the setting to the zigzag option and overlock all the previously ironed parts. The pants are now getting slowly together. Now we will work on the waist area. Fold the fabric down approximately half a centimeter and then fold it again. The second fold should be wide enough for the elastic to fit in and sew around. My elastic is 4 cm wide, therefore I will fold it approximately 4.3 cm all the way around. Now with a straight line stitching, we will sew all around as close to the edge as possible and we will leave a small opening for the elastic to fit in. Sew along the folded part and don't forget to leave the small opening on the end. Next, take your elastic and measure and cut a piece that sits comfortably around your waist. Again, add a little more to have some additional room for sewing the elastic together. It's always better to start with looser band instead of being too tight. Then, take a safety pin and attach it to one of the ends of the elastic and use it to fit the elastic into the casing we just made. Make sure the elastic didn't twist on the way and stitch the two ends together like this. Now would be the time to try the pants on. Make sure that the elastic is tight enough and also focus on the length of the pants. Try to identify how much shorter the pants should be. Once everything fits well, close the opening on the waist. Make sure that the elastic is not under the needle when sewing. In a case you would like to make the waist area, or in other words the elastic, a bit more interesting and looking like this, we will add 2 additional lines. Make sure that the fabric is gathered equally around the entire waist. Then split the area in 3 equal parts. Put the first part under the needle and we will sew with a straight line. Don't pull the fabric down, instead stretch the elastic. By stretching the elastic, the fabric will stretch as well. Continue with this approach all around. And then repeat the same again for the second line. As the last step, we will add a finishing touch on the bottom of the pants. With the bedside facing us, fold the fabric up and then fold it again. In a case the pants were too long, cut as much as you need before you fold it. Sew with a straight line along the edge. And just like that, the pants are done. We can now move on to the crop top. We have 2 pieces for the front as well as for the back, which means that we have a piece that will be the main piece, or in other words, the visible piece once we wear the top, and a lining piece, a piece that will be hidden. I will mark with an X the lining pieces, so it's easier for you to follow me along during the sewing process. Grab the 2 lining pieces, match and pin the shoulder area together, and then do the same also for the main pieces. Sew with the straight line stitching the areas that we just pinned. Again, don't forget to do some front and back stitching and sew with a 1 cm of sewing allowance. Next, iron the seams open to ensure a clean finished product. Lay the main part down with the bad side facing the table and the good side facing us, and then put on top of it the lining part. For the lining part, the good side should face the table and the bad side should be facing us. And then match and pin the neckline. We will sew with a straight line the entire circle. Remove the removable part of your sewing machine for a better access. Put the pinned part under the needle and start sewing. I personally like to keep the seams open like this, just to ensure a nicer final look. Once done, make few notches on the sewing allowance or trim some of the parts, Just make sure that you don't cut the parts that are stitched. And then turn the entire top right side out, so the good side is now facing us. And now we will start with the burrito method. Start rolling from one side to another. Once you are getting close to the other side, lift the upper part, the lining piece, and hack, or in other words, cover the entire rolled section. Match the upper part edges again with the bottom edges of the armholes like this. The good sides are now facing, and the entire top is sandwiched between all of these. Pin the armholes together, and now we will sew the armholes with a straight line. Start sewing at the bottom of the armhole, and then sew all the way until you reach the other end of an armhole. Take your burrito and start pulling out the fabric from one side and basically turn the shirt the right side out again. We can now see nice and clean finish on one armhole. For the second armhole, we repeat the exact same process. Start rolling from the side that is already done and create the burrito. Pin the armholes and then sew them together. Once again, turn the shirt the right side out and optionally give it a good press with an iron. As the next step, we will now focus on the strings. Fold all of them in half and pin them. And then sew with a straight line. This time ignore the 1 cm of sewing allowance and sew closer to the edge. Then take a safety pin or any kind of tool that you have and turn the fabric the right side out. Turn the shirt partially the bed side out like this. Then grab the top piece that is facing us and open it. Position the strings on the notches. The strings should be facing inside of the shirt like this. And then again grab the top piece of the fabric and close it. Now very carefully pin the fabric together and make sure that the strings are still at the same position. Put the pinned part under the needle and sew with a straight line. Again, make sure that the strings did not move. When you cross the strings, you might go back and front to double stitch them, making sure that they are secure. Now, we turn the shirt again the right side out and we can see that it's nicely getting together. I will actually iron the entire shirt at this moment and press all the seamed parts, as this is one of the last times we are able to open the shirt before we sew the strings to the other part. Next, again turn partially the shirt the bed side out, and this time pin the unstitched part without the strings. But when sewing, make sure you leave a small gap directly where the notches are, making sure that there is enough room for the string to fit in later on. As soon as this is done, put the strings inside the gaps and pin them. I would recommend to carefully try the shirt on. When trying on, try to identify how much tighter or looser the shirt should be by moving the strings. I tried my shirt on and I would like to have 7 cm of a string visible on the top and 6 cm on the bottom string. When moving the strings, work from the inside of the shirt and once you are satisfied, pin them. I know that working on this crop top could be a bit tiring as there might be a lot of confusing steps, so if you need maybe a different or a better explanation, please reach out to me and I'll try to explain it better. Nevertheless, once you are satisfied with the position of your strings, make sure that the shirt is again turned with the bed side out and sew the strings with a straight line. Again, you can double stitch them by using the front and back. And now, as one of the very last steps, we are finally reaching the end with the bed side facing us, and now I mean the part of the top which won't be visible once we wear it. Fold the fabric approximately half a centimeter and then fold it again, ensuring a clean finish. And do this all the way on both of the parts. And then sew with a straight line as close to the edge of the folded fabric as possible. And the project is now complete. Here is the final result. I hope you had fun while sewing and that you will enjoy this outfit. Have a great day and thank you for watching.